Um, Thanks for being here, and thanks to Jentel for a wonderful time to explore a new medium for me. Um, I am a visual artist, and I am based here in Wyoming. I live in the Cody Powell area. And I turned to painting many years ago when I began to feel like the photographs I was taking of Montana at the time were really not expressing how I felt about landscape. And I began my journey as a painter, painting from life, outdoors primarily, small field studies. Over time, my practice began to include studio work. But in the studio, I found that my field studies and photographs were really only a beginning point to a painting. And in the studio, I became more interested in expressing the feeling about a landscape or my memory of a landscape, and completely kind of letting the field study and the photographs go. So these are examples of some of my studio work, and they reflect my explorations of working with livestock, sheep, cattle, and roaming the landscapes of primarily the Bighorn Basin over on the other side of the mountains. Oops. These are very overexposed. More paintings inspired by my love of gardening, appreciating the winters in Wyoming when it's so cold that you can actually see the ice crystals reflecting light in the atmosphere, and more gardening. And last year, I kind of took stock of where I was at with my paintings and trying to really pinpoint what it is about the paintings that I love that I really want to carry forward in my work. And some of those qualities are simplified shapes, a lot of spare, open, empty space, a very limited value structure. Value is the scale of white to black in a painting, and I've found that I'm often using just like 3 different values in the work. And abstraction. My work has gradually grown more abstract, and I kind of love those inscrutable yet familiar images and shapes that might suggest a cow, but don't have to be a cow. And then I began thinking, well, where is this coming from? Because I'm working mainly from memory and intuition. And I realized that a lot of the qualities that I appreciate in the paintings are coming from artwork I saw growing up in Hong Kong many years ago. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's time to dig into my past a little bit and learn a little bit more about Japanese and Chinese painting and kind of revisit my childhood. I was raised in Hong Kong in the 70s and 80s, and then I went on to study Chinese and calligraphy in Taiwan, and then continued to pursue East Asian studies as an undergraduate. And then I got interested in agriculture and rural communities. And so for the next 20 years, my life has been revolving around agriculture and living near wilderness, living near farms and ranches. And so I just kind of took a detour. But now I'm kind of coming back to wondering about my past. So a year ago, I uncovered my old calligraphy brushes and bought some new ones and invested in a bunch of ink and paper and started to explore ink and water-based mediums. So I'm kind of going back to the basics. which is really frustrating because it takes so many years to master materials. And I'd been working in oil primarily, and now I'm shifting to I'm not shifting, I'm just including a new medium into my work. I'm not quite sure where it will all lead. So here at Jentel, my oil paints are at home, and I only brought with me water-based media and paper. So I've been experimenting with papers. I have about 15 different papers with me here at Jentel, ranging from hot press, cold press, Asian papers made from mulberry and rice, and what was the other paper? Anyway, that's enough. I've got with me watercolors, gouache, and ink, and then many different types of brushes. The brushes are made with different types of hair. They're different stiffnesses. They all behave very differently. So I'm trying to learn what kind of marks, what are the possibilities with these different materials. My process is evolving with ink, but generally I'm making multiple pieces at once. I find that the expansive table full of paper kind of allows lines to go beyond borders, which often results in very interesting cropped pieces. So I'll lay out a bunch of paper and tape the edges, and then this spell at Jentel, I'm really trying to understand how to create different gradations of gray with the ink. So I'll start with a light layer, go to a middle tone, and then end with a dark mark. Not all the paintings on the table have potential, so then I'll sort them into, this group is interesting, let's set them aside, and I might do something further with them. And then another set will be like, oh, this is too busy, or it's just not resonating with me, and they go into a box for collage. These are just a few of the paintings that I've done over the past year that I have felt are successful. I really enjoy the immediacy of the ink. Once it's down, you can't monkey with it. Unlike with oil paint, there's a lot of opportunity for manipulating your medium, but with ink, it's there and it's done. I'm seeing some of my same interests in landscapes popping up in the ink with tadpoles and saguaros, but then some of them are very abstract, like elegance. And that's just a set of paintings that were on display at a bank across the street from me. Yeah. So here, I brought with me 4 examples. What I'm finding with the different papers, some are very absorbent and some are not. And each paper is really eliciting a different response from me. I was hoping that by the end of my residency at Jentel, I would have identified 2 papers to stick with, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think there's still a lot of exploration with the different papers before I can decide on that. So I'll pass these around, and I hope you can be able to see how the different papers are generating different kinds of images. Yeah, that's what I need to say for the moment.
Yeah. So when you say that the images, you find them afterwards, when you're actually painting, you don't feel like I'm painting a tadpole or I'm painting, you find the images after when you look at them.
It usually works out best if that's the approach. If I go in with a specific intent for an outcome, the painting winds up feeling contrived or forced. So it's best to just let things occur. Yeah.
Like in a meditative state.
Yeah. And that takes a lot of patience because not every little painting will work. It's just a matter of practice and application and repeat.
Until so you almost have to like wait until your mind is not being methodical, like to like
Yeah. Yeah, which is very different. When I was working more representationally with plein air work and painting what I was seeing, I kind of knew what the outcome was going to be. But with abstract work, that outcome is unknown. It's more interesting, but it's also requires a lot more patience. Yeah. Yeah.
So is the color in your pieces, is that the watercolor and gouache, and then it's just the black is the ink?
In the ink images here, yes, it's gouache. Though at Jentel, I have watercolor with me, and I have acrylic with me, and I have a bunch of water-based drawing materials with me. Yeah. Thank you.